Happy Sunday, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news, and I've done a great job squirreling away leftover late-night jokes, and they are timely. Stephen Colbert with this one. One White House insider told CNN that Trump's last-minute pardon scramble has turned crazy. Colbert said, I'm sorry, turned crazy? This is the president who advised people to inject bleach, said that a dead Venezuelan leader stole the election, wanted to trade Puerto Rico for Greenland, I forgot that happened, and wanted to stop hurricanes with a nuclear bomb. We made the turn to crazy town a long time ago. Now we're just doing donuts in Cuckoo Canyon. When it was revealed that former House and Health Human Services Advisor Paul Alexander urged top health officials over the summer to adopt a herd immunity approach to COVID-19, Colbert said that changed the Department of Health and Human Services to the Department of Hell and Human Sacrifice. Seth Meyers points out several Fox News hosts have called for the vaccine to be named after the president. He said, why should Trump get credit for the vaccine? What did he do besides say, we should make a vaccine? He didn't do anything. He's like the guy standing on the sidewalk watching you parallel park. From Chris Rock's Instagram, Chris Rock says that Chris Rock's special Tambourine, that from 2018 and was on Netflix and was directed by Bo Burnham, will be getting a brand new extended edition, Chris Rock says. In this extended cut of his 2018 special, Chris Rock takes the stage for a special filled with searing observations of fatherhood, infidelity, and politics. No details on when this thing will come out, but that's kind of cool. A truck crashed into Nashville comedy club Zanies after the driver forgot to put the emergency brake on. Everybody's okay, except for the mural of Nate Bargatze that was on the side of the building that was affected. Nate had a pretty good sense of humor about it. He said he guessed the driver didn't like his jokes from the night before. So this next thing, I don't really get it. Like, I don't get the joke at all. This is the top 1,000 comedians of 2020, and the list is capped at 25% capacity. So relax. I'm not going to read 1,000 names, and I'm also not going to read 250 names. As Vulture explains, the most important annual list of top comedians just dropped. Every December since 2014, comedian Zach Broussard has released his annual list of the top 1,000 comedians of the year. The format varies from his straightforward 2014 list on Tumblr, 2015 slideshow, 2018's live award show, some sort of COVID pun with, reduced capacity. So he says, with so much going on in the world, I almost didn't do a top 1,000 this year. But if I don't rank at least some of my peers, the virus wins in honesty and awe of all the comedians who persevered in the hardest of years to garner industry buzz instead of going back to school and learning a new trade. So this list, I don't get it. I'm sorry if I'm dense here. Is it comedians he's into? Is it a random list of names? Let's dive in. Number 250, Dave Chappelle. Okay. 249, Dan Lamorte. 248, Mitra Johari. 247, Julia Solomon. 246, Matthew Brian Cohen. Are these household names to you? I'm not saying they're bad comics, but I do this every day. This is pretty deep. That's why I don't get the list. Just bouncing around. 225, Laura Silverman. 224, Rachel Sennott. Is this like every comedian he's ever met? 174 is Hampton Yount. He's on my radar. Aaron Berg at 171. Zach Broussard himself at 151. I'm looking for famous names here to just call out to you. Rob Riggle at 123. But then Andrew Slater's 122 and Drew Morgan's 121 and Will Reese is 120. Jerry Seinfeld for some reason at 115, sandwiched between Justin Golak and Graham Wagner. There's a joke here I'm not getting, right? The number one comedian on the list, Teresa Lee. Congratulations to Teresa. The Mary Sue caught up with Paul Scheer. He said, yeah, I used to do this talk show. It was called Talk Show with Jake Fogelnest. And we had Tenacious D come on and do a concert at UCB. And this was at the height of when they released their album. We would do stuff and people would show up like Jimmy Kimmel. I remember we'd do a whole bit where we would bump somebody at the end of the show, and we bumped Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel was on the Man Show at that point, and he came out to yell at us for being bumped. And it was just kind of fun. One night, Will Ferrell came to the theater, and he had written his George Bush Broadway show, and he's like, I wrote this, can I go up? And we didn't announce it, and he just basically came on stage and kind of was reading it off book, on book, and I was like, whoa, this is so crazy. I love that. From Variety, the trailer for Coming to America, that's with the number 2 in the middle. This is the sequel to Coming to America. This one Coming to America. Get it? In the upcoming sequel, Prince Akeem, who's set to become the king of the fictional country of Zamunda, finds out he has a son he never knew about, a street-savvy Queens native Lavelle. To honor the former king's dying wish to raise his grandson as the crown prince, Akeem and his younger brother Semi once again leave for America. Arsenio Hall spoke to Complex about the movies, and he said, what I love most is we didn't lose the main agenda, the humor. It's a funny effing movie, and I'm proud we hit all those bumps and checked all those boxes. It's funny. It does everything you need it to do, but it's also funny. I think people will love the additions to it. There's some surprises here that will surprise people who don't get surprised. Coming to America, now set to premiere on March 5th. In the meantime, if you want something to watch, how about Jimmy Tingle's show running yesterday through January 3rd? Tingle's curated string of 7 virtual performances blend the pre-recorded special, new comedy bits, and a live Q&A. The ticket price for his 90-minute show is pay what you can. Jimmy Tingle spoke to the Boston Globe. He said, it's a tough time for everybody, and I don't want to be cost prohibitive. Hopefully it's an event that makes people feel more optimistic. The special's called Jimmy Tingle's 2020 Vision. It focuses on his 2018 run for Lieutenant Governor of Massachusetts and the current U.S. political climate. Tingle said, it's more of a documentary with my commentary woven through it. I try to really make it something that, regardless who you voted for, you'd appreciate the sentiment and the values we're espousing in the film. Ticket proceeds will benefit local nonprofit organizations and theaters affected by coronavirus. That's cool. Pre-registration and ticket sales are open now and then 1 hour before each show. So by now, I mean unless you're listening 1 hour before the show. Most shows start at 7 p.m. Eastern. The 2 shows today start at 5 p.m. Eastern. You can buy tickets at Jimmy Tingle's website, which is jimmytingle.com. And from Deadline, you know how I've proven that Bob's Burgers doesn't exist? Here, let me go over it for the new listeners. Have you ever seen Bob's Burgers? No. Have you ever met anyone who has seen Bob's Burgers? No. I understand that Fox promotes it during the football games. I get it. I get that we've seen artwork for what Bob's Burgers would look like. I get it. But have you ever seen Bob's Burgers? No. Have you ever met anyone who's seen Bob's Burgers? No. From Deadline, Fox is tweaking its lineup following the NFL on Fox doubleheader on January 3rd. The network's new animated series, The Great North, is getting a special preview at 8:30 ahead of its February 14th series premiere. Now, what caught my eye is the artwork for The Great North looks a lot like the artwork for Bob's Burgers. I think they're running another scam. Not only do I think Bob's Burgers doesn't exist, I don't think The Great North exists. We will find out if this actually airs. Actually, we won't find out because Fox knows by the time 8:30 Eastern rolls around, we've all switched over to NBC to watch football because we were on Fox to watch football in the first place. So they can promote whatever they want because they know we're not going to check because we're watching the football game. That's your comedy news for today. Follow on Spotify, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, say hi on Twitter at DCN Pod. Catch you tomorrow.